Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to simplify your Fardriver harness. So you got all these plugs up here, which go into the main plug right here, which connects directly to the Fardriver controller. So what I'm using, which I already did one of these, which is on my bike, working no issue, is some wire cutters. I guess these would just be regular cutters. I like using a little pick for all the pins, and then wire loom would be better for this, but I'm going to be using some electrical tape, and then to shrink it down a tiny bit, more or less melt it together so it doesn't come apart, using this lighter. So basically what I'm going to do is what you find is all the plugs you need. So hall sensor, another main one. These would be the two for your key switch, which is this red one with the pink and black wire, and then this orange wire. So we're gonna take that. We're gonna basically move the plugs we know we're gonna use away from everything else. So we got our key switch, which are these two right here, the 3-speed switch right here, throttle, and then hall sensor. So I don't think there's really anything else unless you're using the Bluetooth dongle, but most of the ones you can get are built-in Bluetooth. So what you're going to want to do is, now that you got all the plugs you don't want, is we're going to start just cutting them down relatively close down here. Same with these wires. And I'll show you why I'm cutting them so low. So now, hall sensor, throttle, for your key switch, 3-speed switch, those are the ones we're using. Everything else is cut off. Now we're gonna slowly pull this whole cover up. And then now, all the wires we cut, we can pull through. As you can see right here, this orange goes up to where we would be using it for the key switch. Personally, what I do, which is what I did on the one I'm using, is cut that off there. And then what I'm doing, this kind of just melts it together and makes sure no water will ever get in there. Alright, there's that. And all your loose wires, start pulling them. As you can see right here, both of these were connected. So were they connected? Make sure it's not connected to something you're using. But if it's two wires like this that are connected right there, just cut down here where the single wire comes out, go into this plug, and then should be good. Alright. So the goal is to just pull all of these away. So I'll do that real quick. Alright, now we got all the wires that we aren't going to be using kind of outside a little bit. And what you're going to do is take your pick, press on the inside, see right in here. You're going to want to push up and in so it pops out. May have to do it a couple times to get it to pop out. Try not to be aggressive. As you can see on mine, there's that little curve right on the end. So I'm not trying to stab it. I'm just pushing it through. Make sure whatever you're using is kind of blunt. And now we're gonna pull this up. Now it's pulled up about to the max it can go. We're gonna go between each row of these wires here and then pull up this orange gasket. Make sure not to stab through it. So we're just gonna slowly work the whole thing up. And now what we're gonna do is, since we have all the wires on the outside here, you can see what colors they are. Take them through, and the clips that hold these in really aren't that strong, so you can just pull on them a little bit. They should come out. It's funny because the one I say that on doesn't come out. There we go. So just pull straight out. Now this probably isn't the best way to do it, but we're not reusing the plugs that are in here. So just make sure you're able to pull it through and then straight out. Now what you're going to want to do is, well, like I just did, check over, make sure you got everything out that you don't want in there, which it looks like we do now. Now you're going to start slipping your gasket back down. So you're going to use your pick to push this gasket back down. Because you want it down in here. Now push the little cover back on. You'll hear it click back in place. Pushing all the edges like I am right now. Just gotta make sure to look in here and make sure these are all seated. And then now what you can do is pull the main harness cover down. And like I said earlier, I personally use a 3-speed switch. So either way I'd leave this, because this locks it in the highest mode. But if you have a 3-speed switch, like I do, you just cut that off. Throw it in the junk pile. And then now, what I do is I twist the wires a tiny bit just to keep them in place. And then you're just gonna go around with some electrical tape, or you can use wire loom, whatever you want to do. So now that we're here, what I'm gonna do is pull this down, and then I'm gonna wrap this everything together all the way down past where this right here is gonna be, because this is actually like a type of heat shrink. And if you hit it with some heat, it'll shrink down all around these wires and seal it off. So that'd make it a lot cleaner. So I'll do that real quick. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is hit everything with some heat to kind of melt it together. And this will just make sure it doesn't come apart any. And you don't want to hold it long, otherwise you could possibly burn the wires inside. But this is just to melt it together. Alright, and now what we're going to do is hit this right here. And this is just going to shrink down around. Which, I mean, ideally you'd want to hit this with a heat gun if you don't want to see where the flame was hitting it. But I mean, overall, even though it's a little bit darker than it was, you can see down there it's completely sealed off now, so water is not going to get down in here. And yeah, there you go. Now you got a simplified Fardriver harness. So while it's more work, I mean, it's way better looking than all this stuff right here being on it. And yeah, like, share, subscribe. I guess if anyone wants this, they can pay the price of a new harness and maybe a little extra for the time, because I have, like, I don't know, I'll have to check how long the recording was, but I have some time into it. And of course the materials. But if anyone wants what you personally saw me just build, this right here, pay some shipping and for another new harness, and yeah. You can see right down in there. But yeah, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.